guess me and, being so busy, I haven't made a video lately. Sorry. I hope everyone's doing well. We're about to change seasons into the summer. uh, so I hope you're doing well and this video finds you at the right time. Okay, so what's going on? Well, I just went to the Dave Matthews concert here in the Houston area with both my daughters. I'll put some videos at the end, or pictures at the end of the video. But it was awesome. It was. My oldest daughter is now 30. Yes, I may look young, but I inherited the genes from my parents. Not only did one of the genes give me ALS, but also a younger look as we get older. Gotta look for the good things, right? So she was 10 when I took her to the first Dave Matthews concert. That was her first concert. And now my youngest is 10. We took her to her first concert in the Dave Matthews concert. So I got off of the DMG Gorge crew, I got some shirts. So they both wore shirts that say "Raised on Dave." So they both were. They heard a lot of Dave Matthews music when they were growing up. So that was fun. Challenge because I had set my youngest one's expectations a little bit lower and didn't get the good tickets like I have been getting, but I got lawn tickets, which are still good tickets. But the stairs in those places, if I have been a little more progressed, there's no way I could have gotten up the stairs. In fact, going up the stairs, I nearly ate it and screamed and alerted everyone around me, kind of embarrassing. But wearing the AFO brace and walking up the stairs was a little bit hard. So live and learn. And there's like a little bit of a grade before my oldest was so worried, "Mom, don't fall." And this parking garage stairs. So it was difficult. I mean, the whole week has been, so what have I been doing the past couple weeks? Let's see, I've gone to meetings. I've had the experience of being in a meeting and being on a Zoom meeting with earplugs in at the same time, trying to pay attention to both for my advocacy stuff. That worked. Let's see. I have gone into my ALS clinic and I'm back on, still in the phase 1 with the Koya. 3, Koya 2, Koya 1, 2, I think Koya 3 is coming out when they mix the drugs. So I'm back on that. Thankfully, there was a organization and an individual donor that helped fund this. The problem with ALS drugs and studies is there's not enough money because it's considered a rare disease. There are potential treatments that can be effective that need funding. Things like the ALS Association give out like $1 million to different groups. So funneling effective funds to groups that are actually on the cutting edge of science doing this is important. Now, I believe in the Houston Methodist Neurology Institute, and that fund actually goes directly to the patients. So the study that I'm in has shown good results for both genetic and sporadic patients. It's a small study. There needs to be more people in it. I think it will be an effective treatment. But I'm back on it. So thankfully for a couple months, someone else funded in their generosity of their heart for us to be back on the meds. So I felt more energy so far. And of course, I'm like, yes, I can do things. And so I do that and I overexert and then I'm like, ow, spasticity. But so I've been back on the meds and they cause nausea for me. There's a little bit of redness at the site, like, nothing to be worried about. It goes away. But it's just, living with the nausea. And then I find if I do too much with being on it, ooh, it is not a good thing. So let's see. I had, I've had so much. I had something to do on Monday, and then I met with my lovely little ladies. I have some beautiful people that I have met through an organization, and there's a book club, and that's absolutely wonderful. That I, follow up. Someone came in from Philadelphia and was back, and that was just nice to see everybody. Yes, so I've retired because of ALS, and I go to book clubs. Yeah, it's just being on the drugs sometimes it makes, when I'm on the active cycle of 5 days, it makes it difficult to actually go and do things. I have a niece graduating next week, and I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to effectively be there. So let's hope. It's just trying to find not the point that I crossed. So just so much has been going on, from meetings to, kids stuff, having to show up to doing that. It's just, on Thursday, I had an appointment with doctors. My husband had an appointment. We went to that. And then I had my daughter coming over, so I wanted to fluff the house up. I had a study on Wednesday. I'm in a Johns Hopkins neurofilament level store. It's like the elevation and inflammation in your nervous system. So if you have, like, anywhere in your body, if you have inflammation, it can help cause deterioration of different body systems. So neuroinflammation happens when there's destruction in the nervous system. So that's what the neurofilament levels are testing. So I was lucky because I was able to talk to the nurse that was doing that for the study. Actually worked at in the hospital my clinic is in, so they could drop it off. And when I was getting blood for the study, they were able to do both at the same time. Really cool, really nice, reduced sticks. Over time, people that get stuck more have problems with accessing your veins, because your veins remember, and it causes scar tissue in your veins each time. If you're on a lot of sticks, if you have something, you're sick, your veins remember, so it can hurt your veins. Like, I used to donate blood all the time, and I remember one time I was donating blood, and the tech that was drawing my blood, it started to like slow, and she moved the needle inside. And those are like really big needles, right? And it ruined this vein. So I have another vein that grew up, new veins. The new veins never grow straight though. So my crooked little vein I can pull straight, but it's a good bleeder. And I have one over here that's kind of scarred up, and my other is AC, but it still bleeds. It's just, as over time, like being in a clinical study, when you're getting your blood drawn every week to every 2 weeks. This time it's every 2 weeks, or monthly you get blood drawn, which is nice because my veins get tired of that. And I signed up for this, I think 2019, and I've been in it for 24 months according to them. So it's still another 12 months of every 3 months getting blood drawn. So one time during the pandemic, I had a lady come and draw my blood, and they spin it down. They bring the machine that spins blood down into between plasma and the red blood cells and white blood cells. So this one, you answer all the questions, what your medications are, blah, 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 blah. And she did that, spun my, 3 tubes, which is not bad, but spun my blood down, did that. And then I decided to sweep and mop, or steam mop. Ooh, I got a new steam mop. It's very easy, but reality is I'm not probably strong enough to do it. I think I can do everything I did before, and when I do it, I cause myself overexertion, and it makes my symptoms with ALS worse. So I had, the next day on Friday, I had my right arm, and I get like bicep and my shoulder into my neck. I get spasticity, which means for me, and I have currently still upper motor the upper motor nerve system dysfunction. ALS. So I'm still mostly upper. I do have lower motor neuron deficits, which also show and that makes the ALS diagnosis. So my leg is weak. My hands are doing this. I have facial spasms, and those are my tongue devasculation, and it is a bit atrophied. These are all signs of lower motor neuron dysfunction. So the spasticity hit, and what it does is it makes the muscles taut and hard. So, and when it wraps down, it kind of like wraps around nerves and it causes pain. So spasticity is very painful. So even like now, my hand hurts. And, you know, I try to do the exercises like my physical therapist told me, but, you know, keep them moving because that pain will do, that locks so hard. I had my nails done for the graduations coming up. And I had the lady that was, you know, Mother's Day. My best friend and I did a lovely, you know, took ourselves, we had pedicures and we had our nails done. So I've broken 2 of them. I just, you know, it's the gelish or something, nail polish that never goes away. You can break a nail, but the nail polish doesn't break. So had that done, and that was nice. And, you know, Mother's Day was lovely. I got another beautiful hibiscus. I absolutely love it. Beautiful red blooms. You know, my family loves me. Wonderful breakfast delivered from First Watch. You know, I love the market hash, and it was absolutely delicious. Just really sweet. I got shown I was loved. You know, my oldest sent me a card that means so much. You know, my youngest got a card with her dad. It's just so beautiful. You know, just really the kindness that has been shown to me in so many different ways. I just absolutely adore. You know, it's kind of like that karma. You know, if you do something, so, oh, it's karma. Sometimes when you put good out in the world, good comes back to you, which I'm so appreciative of. So into that, you know, from Mother's Day into this week has been busy, busy, busy. Cleaned on Thursday, thought I was doing great. It just absolutely enamored with the new steam mop that I got. It's like the, I think it's a Shark and it has the scrubby things on it. I did that on Friday, but that Friday, then the concert, you know, you have to bring your food up. Thankfully, my oldest carried the lawn chairs. Ugh, awful. And we got there, and that was really fun. My heart sung, and it's like it was a concert in the fan base of Dave Matthews. People are like, oh, I didn't like. Some of my favorite songs were played, you know, from Warehouse to You and Me to Dancing Nancy's to I loved Bismarck. I loved some of the new songs that were played. There's so many songs I really loved, and it was a nice experience. One of those chasms that you get, and you can wrap it in your legacy of life, and that's just, it felt very special. Saturday, I woke up hurting, and I still had, you know, get graduation, James Avery charm for my niece. Her mom, my sister that passed, loved to do James Avery, and that's something we grew up with. Our dad, it's a little jewelry shop. I don't know how many states it's in. It's based in Texas. But they do nice silver and gold jewelry, and they have little charm bracelets. So my sister Rebecca, for her kids, even my kids would buy a charm. So I wanted to make sure she got her charm this year. It's important. So she was kind of like busy, you know, graduates are really busy. She's graduating with her high school degree and her associate's degree at the same time. She's one of the special programs. So really proud of this kid, and she got accepted in several colleges. So my sister's dream is coming. So I'm just wondering, I'm hoping I have enough energy to be able to be for the graduation, but knowing that I'll be on the drugs and coming off of all that, the side effects, not that they're terrible, it just makes me feel puny. And my immune system is affected. So like when I had COVID mid-March or mid-April, got better quickly because I was vaccinated. I took the Paxlovid. It kind of messed with my respiratory thing, but the doctor, my neurologist physician that's over the study said if I had had COVID while being on these medications, I may have not reacted so well. So I had to be careful about being exposed to people and, possibly wearing a mask. It's like, considering how everybody's like, why are you wearing a mask? It's like, I'd be one of the people, not because I'm afraid of COVID, but because I'm afraid of other germs. Taking my vitamin D, my vitamin C, zinc, trying to keep myself, well, making sure I eat well, watch my diabetes, it's all a balance. So, oh gosh, last night I had it where this area, like from my ear back into my neck and across my face, I kept having this pain like right here. And I'm like, it's above where your tooth would hurt and these teeth aren't messed. So yeah, I have high cheekbones. And actually, I think it's probably still a little bit spastic. If you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but this side's really relaxed and this side's pulled up. So what happens when you have the spasticity and if you have the fasciculations, they happen after you start having atrophy. So this side, it has fallen a little bit in my face. This side will probably start to fall after the spasticity works. It's like the spasticity, the hardness and the cramps and the tautness of the muscles, for me, usually happen before the atrophy sets in. And after the atrophy sets in, I have the fasciculations. So I have had fasciculations along my left arm, and my left arm is weaker than my right. So with the spasticity in this arm and just the tightness and harsh of muscles. Oh, that's why I was mentioning my nails being done. So we had our nails done. I was getting my nails done. The lady kept saying, relax, relax. And it's like, I can't. I can't control these muscles that are hard and they're stiff. That's my disease. I have ALS and that's part of it. So yeah, I'm a tense but relaxed, laid back person. Does that make any sense? So that we are out of that. I'm relaxing today. Last night was a rough night with the spasticity. You have this pain, and then I started having the spasms in my diaphragm. And that's just a miserable feeling. And having to be on the muscle relaxers, I'm on the highest dose of baclofen you can take orally. And then putting tenazidine, which is another Xanaflex, it's another muscle relaxer, which my neurologist told me to do. They won't give you benzodiazepines, which are like, Valium or Ativan to help relax. Sometimes those will actually relax muscles. No, it could compromise your respiratory system. They won't, because of the clinical study I was in, because I already called in another week when I didn't expect, it messed up some of my appointments with my pain management doctor. And you had to be every 30 days with pain management and pee in a cup. And if, my things messed up and it was just a terrible tag time, they were calling my husband, and my husband's not one that remembers doctor stuff. So it was, I had to stop seeing my pain management because of the way that it ran. It was just an unfortunate thing of miscommunication. And so I don't have my Tylenol number 3, the pain medicine. Right now, with the way they treat people that chronic pain or that, the worry for addiction and the pandemic of opiate misuse, those that may need it are severely restricted. And the way they've treated ALS from the 1980s, 1990s to the 10s and to now is a little bit different. So they want to keep your diaphragm working. They don't want to give you something that might, cause addiction or suppress your respiratory rate. Even though taking 2 of the muscle relaxers may also suppress your diaphragm. When you're having the spasticity, it makes it hard to breathe in your diaphragm. I have a CPAP, which thankfully the machine can go into BiPAP and AVAP. You have to have it set. I can't change it. But just that little bit of extra pressure helped. But it's scary when you're breathing and it's irregular and you're not trying to get it. You take those medicines and it's like, am I going to wake up? I did, and with pain twice. So it was at the time that I needed the next dose of medicine, and and again. So it's interesting how when those wear off, it's like. So, like my 10-year-old said, Mom, I need to put chains around you and chain you up and lock you up so you don't move too much. That's a 10-year-old. Now I don't want to be chained. I actually played Chains of Love by Erasure for you, for her. Tell me something and I know a song that can match it up. But I don't know. I just need to today take a day of rest. And yes, I'm doing a video, but I'm just sitting here talking. It's kind of nice. I had my stepfather come over. It's been a year and 4 months since my mom died. And he's redoing things for my kitchen. We had a sink leak that leaked everywhere, and house insurance only paid this amount. With the pandemic, it doesn't, everything went up, so it didn't cover everything. So with paying for John Moore that saved mold from growing in my house to trying to repair the kitchen, and we just didn't have as much. So my grandfather's helping. Life with ALS is very expensive. The cost of medications to the cost of DME, durable medical equipment. My power chair was $65,000. Yes, Medicare covered some. The Team Gleason paid for my seat elevator, which thankfully Congress just approved Medicare to cover seat elevators, so yay. But still, like almost $6,000 after that is my cost. They don't pay for walkers. They don't pay for, Medicare pays for part of the AFOs, but that's still like $300 cost for that. And when you're on Social Security disability, with inflation, things get higher. It's just a reality of things. So where there's a will, there's a way. We went through the early 1980s. I remember my dad worked in oil. So when that oil crash and that recession happened, it was hard. But you get through it, right? Nothing ever stays the same. So it's just hoping to get through it. Have the power chair. I need to find a better walker. I have one, but I was born with arms that said I should be 5'6". My actual height is 5'10", but I've shrunk a little bit. My scoliosis affects, so I'm a little bit lower, but I have shorter arms. So all those times I thought that strollers were not made for tall people. They're just not made for tall people with short arms. My grandfather was nearly 6'5", and my maternal grandfather, grandfather was almost 6'5", and my maternal grandmother was just barely 5 foot. I think over time she was 4'11". So with those mixes, what happens, you go through to the grandkids, you have a tall person with short arms. That's what I'm going to blame it on, right? No. Oh, but it was so nice to see my oldest and just see, it's really cool when you have a kid and you don't know who they're going to be. And you try to support them and give them all the ingredients they need to become who they are. And I just absolutely adore and respect my daughter. I mean, my little one is going to be something else. She is such a character. She's very artistic. She's very smart. She has wisdom beyond her years, and she's just turning into the most cool person. So now she is going to be tall with long arms because she inherited it from her father. Tried to match and make things better, right? Put some better things in the gene pool. Can't help that we have C9 or 72, but it's a 50-50 toss on that, And I think it's 25% for other relatives, so I'm not sure. They'll figure it out. I mean, there's a couple different variations. I did not know that I had this genetic mutation when I had children. Even the year my youngest was born is when they announced the discovery of C9orf72. And my father died 2 years before that. And my uncle, the first uncle I had with ALS, died in 2015. And he died on a business trip while he was flying, and he had left-sided weakness too to begin with. And he lost the insight to things, and They report that he was really argumentative and thing he wouldn't listen and that, which tells me that he may have had FTD, frontal temporal lobe dementia, which can happen with the C9orf72 genetic mutation, which basically what the genetic does is on chromosome 9, and it replicates for the nervous system toxic RNA transcription. So it's toxic proteins that build up that eventually, once you have full penetrance, damages the nervous system. So what it will do is damage parts of the brain. In FTD, it's the frontal temporal lobe. ALS gets the cerebellum, which is the back of the brain stem. And also, they think people with Parkinson's, there are some Parkinson's people that have the C9orf72 as well. Now, within my family, we have multiple people with ALS, some with ALS FTD, and I have a great aunt that had Parkinson's disease. Interesting, huh? Anyway, so my uncle Ken had ALS, and he was on a business trip, and he had his appointment with his ALS clinic to have the genetic testing. He died in his sleep that weekend before. So the question of whether we carry the genetic mutation was not answered. My sister and I don't know if my aunts also got in the program with the Artful and the LLFTS program. They've been combined now. Just because of the family history and suspicious, the neurologist, Dr. Grossman, that was over the University of Pennsylvania FTD Center, which for them, I mean, when I was, my dad was diagnosed as a nurse, I wasn't as familiar with this type of dementia. There was always the question that some of it can be genetic. We did not have the answer at that point. Got into the program, did my family tree, had my dad's medical records sent from the VA to them, which, I had to prove who I was, what I was, this and that, birth certificates and everything to be able to get any information. Thankfully, someone was kind and sent me all my information back. Yay! Coming up with my birth certificate, everything else like that. It was something. So got those records transferred and got the genetic testing and went through all the thing. So they test people in the program whether you have it or you don't have it, if you're a direct descendant. And you can choose not to get your results. And they'll still follow you whether you have it or not. So when I eventually started having my own symptoms of ALS, knowing that we had family members that had it, when I started dropping things, when I had the stomach cramps in my abdomen, having a Charlie horse in your abdominal muscles is not comfortable. And I had tongue fasciculations, just feeling your tongue move in your mouth. And what really got me, I was kind of concerned, but the morning stiffness in my ankles turned into my gait change. And when my gait changed, the way I walk, I knew I better go to the doctor. So went to my primary. I was March or June of 2018 or 2019. And then I had to wait until August to get the muscular neurologist they sent me to. And I was diagnosed with ALS, confirmed in October of 2019. So life has changed all this point. I'm 3.5 years in. I'm blessed to be walking, I'm blessed to be talking, I'm blessed to be complaining about spasticity, honestly. They say that spasticity is worse in the slow progressors. So when I was diagnosed, I was told that I was going to have a very, 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 very painful course of disease. And he was right. I thought it was kind of mean for him to tell me that, but he was right. So now it's just riding the surfboard and figuring out the waves as they change and dealing with the pain. It's hard to advocate yourself in the current climate with pain management. My particular neurologist does not like palliative care to write certain orders, like for opiates or benzodiazepines. I don't know. It's hard. You know, suffering is hard. And knowing that there is ways that you can augment and reduce suffering. I mean, I've done I'm a 500-hour yogic meditation teacher. I have CEB, Cultivating Emotional Balance, through the Buddhist perspective, teaching. I've taken MBSR, Mindful-Based Stress Reduction, compassion cultivation. You know, I've done a lot of things to reduce this and to accommodate, to reduce the stress on my nervous system and to accommodate being able to handle my life and making a calmer, more aware walk through this. It still sucks to hurt. It still sucks to suffer. You can get your mind around it, but I still think there's ways to advocate so that those are controlled. You shouldn't have to suffer all the time or worry about it. So I will walk through this and try to make things better. I mean, that's why I put myself in the clinical study. It wasn't just for me to do that. It was to see if this would work for my type of ALS, because I'm not the only one affected by it. And thankfully, like I've always thought, that if something works for the genetic people, it might help the sporadic people. I mean, if you're sporadic, it could be that they just haven't found the gene and the epigenetics that is for your particular type of ALS. You know, my flag was one of 6,000 flags for IMALS's presentation on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. I'll be going to the Astros game, which is here for on June 2nd for Lou Gehrig's Disease Day, and hopefully be present. They offered to send me a video. You know, they asked me to send a video to sing the national anthem. Because I said I will use my voice in any way I can to help stand up for ALS. And I'm a public talker. You know, I've been media trained. Not that I started this when that happened. I just feel comfortable talking, sharing my story, because I know that this will hit other people that are going through it or have family members going through it or chronic or terminal disease otherwise. You know, we're not alone. You know, making a community and talking and people sharing their story, I think can only help others, right? So, you know, it's like I can talk, but you wouldn't want me to sing. I would curdle the kettle's milk. I mean, I'm just not a good singer. So I don't know who's going to be chosen to throw out the ball. I'd have to throw it with my left one right now. But it'll be fun. I mean, that'll be really fun. Nice to went through the thing through the pandemic. I mean, there's the virtual Zooms, and I'm terrible with catching up on my emails. I still have thank you letters to send. I mean, I'm just that person jumping around, that constant moving motor, and that's how I have lived my life. And now ALS is like, no, sit down. Well, it's good to, you know, center yourself and be present, but you know, it's like having a leash. But I don't know. So this next week, I got the graduations on Thursday, and my little teenage goth heart is so happy. I get to see the Sisters of Mercy play, and you know, my husband's going with me, which is nice because he's one that doesn't like live music, so he's trying to be kind to me and go with me. You know, it's like I did a lot of things independently like that, and now with my mobility issues, I feel more comfortable having someone with me just in case I would fall or something would happen. You know, it's disconcerting when you're alone. You know, I have the app on my phone that the ALS Association has for people with ALS that gives all your information, like your doctor, people to call. If you were nonverbal, it gives you things you can point to, and you know, different information for ALS patients, like don't necessarily put oxygen on people, because with our diaphragm dysfunction, the muscle that's underneath the lungs above your intestinal stuff, that goes back and forth for you to breathe. You breathe out. It goes up when you breathe it deeply in. It expands down. As that gets the dysfunction, we carry more carbon dioxide in our blood, or CO2. If you put oxygen in, the drive that will happen will stop, and you may stop breathing. So you have to be very careful about oxygen with ALS. So it has all that kind of information. So it's like, okay, I'd have that, but I don't know. I mean, I have gone down once out in public, and I had a good friend with me. And I just worry that if I was in that kind of situation, if something happened, I want someone that knows me to watch over me. Does that make sense? I've been a real independent peer person. I've gone to shows by myself a lot, and I'm not afraid to go out by myself. But in a situation, I just need to start thinking larger, or be more aware of my parameters, and make sure that I have the assistance I need. It is an accommodation. You can accommodate a lot. I don't know. Just kind of interesting. I have 2 nieces and a nephew graduating this year. So my niece is graduating, and she's such a beautiful, my first niece, Maya's graduating. Beautiful woman. She's a beautiful musician. She's going to go to college to become a music teacher. My nephew is probably going into engineering. He did the summer thing with NASA and invented something for the astronauts that will be produced for the astronauts. Absolutely awesome. He has a PDF printer, and he's making all these little lovely things. I have one of the octopuses he made, and he's making dragons. And I have my niece Michaela, who is graduating with her high school degree, and as I said, her associate's degree. And I have no idea what she's going to be, but just 6 months after her mom dies, it's hard to go through a graduation when you want your mom there. But she has been completing school, got accepted. I mean, I hope that builds her confidence, and I hope she finds the support she needs. You just want to love kids through, and I'm just so proud of all of them. I mean, I used to say, I had an old friend tell me that back years ago, we're talking 29 years ago, that I said I wanted to grow up, or where did I see myself as an adult? I said I would love to be an aunt. So I have 21 nieces and nephews. Yeah, Catholic family, people have a lot of kids. And each one of them is so special to my heart, I had my little nephew FaceTime me, the kid messenger, and I was talking to my 5-year-old. Oh, he's 6. Oh God, could he be 7? It's terrible. I'm the aunt that loves the kids, but what's their birthday again? He was talking to me, just so precious. I mean, you just want to love them. They're so important, And I've got my daughters that I absolutely love. My granddaughter, little 2-year-old. My daughter went to the hill country for a friend's birthday party, and to the river, to float the river. And there was another family there that had a 2-year-old, and it made her miss her daughter. We were at the Dave Matthews concert on the lawn, and the family that sat next to us had a 2-year-old. She's like, it makes me miss my baby. It's like, oh honey, it's okay. Go ahead and enjoy the time for you. You need your time too. So just that beautiful moment. Life has been so stressful, and just to have a nice moment to enjoy, definitely worth it. So hopefully next week, just seeing the kids walk the stage to get their certificate and diploma, just beautiful. Just one of those really times to remember. And then to finally get the elusive Sisters of Mercy, to see them live. It's been since the 90s. So, and I'm sure my husband's going to be like, oh my God, It's like, yeah, well, I enjoyed it. And it's like one of my things has been since I started going after I had my daughter, when she's really little, it was during the whole time in Seattle where the grunge scene was going off. And so I was in nursing school, college, and I had a 2-year-old, so I had to be careful of how much time I was out. But I've been trying to see live everyone for all the CDs I collect. Yes, I still have CDs. Yes, I know. Some people call them coasters. But, right now vinyl, and then vinyl came out and it's a real big thing. And they helped, the younger ones were like, cassettes. I'm like, oh, cassettes, really? How many times did you have to roll those up when they got pulled out? But I still like CDs. I uploaded all of my music, all of my CDs to my computer and downloaded them to it was a lot of work, and then downloaded them to a iPod type thing, and then that died. It I still want a physical copy. It's kind of like when you have books, and yes, you can get them on Audible, you can get them on your Kindle or your Note or Nook, and you can do that. But sometimes it's just nice to have a physical representation. I love the album art or the CD printouts. You can see the lyrics, you can see all the things. I like having something to hold. And yes, I'm Gen X, that might be that. But, it's like kind of like a book. I like to read books in the bathtub. I like to be able to have that. It's not like I want to take anything electric there. It's like, it's just one of those comfort things. I mean, I have a stack of books right here. Yeah. Need to get a new bookcase, actually. But it's just those things, you enjoy. So I will have, I've seen Dave Matthews almost every year for years and years. It's just the music and the actual live event music is good on CD. The live event is something so special. It's a mix of good live music, good musicians, and the other people that enjoy. They say Dave Matthews fans are like the Grateful Dead fans. Nah, I think we're cleaner, and there's people. It's not as funky dunky. It's not as hippie. And there's nothing wrong with hippies. Much love. I have a cousin that is into the Grateful Dead, and I love her so much. There's nothing that way. It's just, it's got that community in it, which is awesome. I really enjoy it. So life is going really well. We've got a lot of events. I'm going to have another friend. It's my husband's best friend-in-law. Yeah, we talk about our life. My husband's best friend died in 2021, or no, was it 2020? Yeah, it was 2020, from an aneurysm. So his wife is a lovely lady, and she's coming to visit, and she's going to see my little one's first volleyball game, because my daughter decided on her own she wanted to play volleyball. So hey, she told me, Mom, you said I could get a scholarship for that. I'm like, well, you possibly could, but you had to work for it. But she's 5'3", and she's 10, and she has the really long arms like her dad, and she's like a perfect body shape for that, because she will get taller, and she has really long arms. So hey, she likes it. One of her little friends that she's close with is also, hopefully she'll be on the same team. They're doing the same camp, and it's going to be awesome. So, and then our best friend-in-law is going to come during the time Duran Duran is playing. So I remember early 80s, Wild Boys, and it was always like, oh, Wild Girls. It was like that, that particular time in the 80s when MTV was really big and actually played music. And Duran Duran was on the radio, was that. I never, as I got older, my music chain kind of turned into, Joy Division, Baja, Sisters of Mercy, Mission UK, all of that stuff. I turned to turn darker, and then to college radio in the 80s, right? Late 80s, early 90s. And, but she really loves Duran Duran. She's like been going, I think she's gone multiple times to see Depeche Mode, which I love seeing Depeche Mode. I mean, they are wonderful live. But Duran Duran's coming when she's here. And, you know, we got tickets. It was her birthday. So we got, thankfully, she was talking about the lawn. Thankfully, we did not get lawn tickets because I'm not walking up those stairs again. Nope, 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 nope. That was dangerous. To have it and you lose your footing, to see concrete stairs coming at your face. Oh, thankfully, my experience of being a klutz saved me the day this time. I was able to right myself. Who knew that something like that would be worth something later? Anyways, so, but we're going to go see Duran Duran first week of June, so that'll be okay. And I see the Mission UK in October. I'm trying to see if I can stomach paying $130 to see Peter Gabriel, which I love Peter Gabriel. I love him. I love his music. It just hits in a deep place. So we will see. It's like, life is expensive. But got the stuff for the kid to go to volleyball. We'll see if this is something that the addition to her and who she's going to be, fruits. All she can do is try, right? So I was trying to explain to my husband, he doesn't like live music. And he has a friend that has social anxiety with crowds that was in the military. And I was telling him, no, do not put that in her. These kids that are coming out of the COVID period of the isolation, you know, there's a lot of anxiety, depression that's happening, but they have to be able to accommodate life again. You know, it's like, you know, to be able to experience being around others, to be able to experience society and to find the things they want. You can just offer them different opportunities and support them as they grow and back into society. You know, there's this whole thing right now where there's a lot of intolerance of others and othering of people. And it's almost like there's this demands, you know, there's a lot of division, and the either side, the fringes are really, and you see a lot of intolerance and othering and canceling, all that stuff that's really, you know, rigid and intolerant going around. It's like, come on, y'all, let's just, you know, learn to disagree, learn to, even if you don't agree with that person, doesn't mean that they're not worthy, doesn't mean that they don't have a life and they're not somebody. You know, you cannot agree with somebody and still be their friend. You know, there's something about discourse that's important, being able to talk, being able to do that, being able to look at something and evaluate it. You might not agree with it, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop talking and make someone evil because they don't agree with you. That's not the way the life works. And we're enriched by, we talk to people with different ideas and discourse. It can help you grow. It can help you learn. There's good things about it. So off my soapbox. So that's what's going. I'm just still overexerting myself, doing too much. But I don't know. I don't want to just, you know, lay down and die. You know, it's like you get diagnosed with something, and it could be terminal, it can be chronic. It makes working and living and doing what you did different, right? Your life changes. Boom, life changed. What do? You can choose to go into the disease and work and work and work and look at every possible thing that could happen and just make that who you are. Or you can learn to grow in different ways. And I don't know, until the day I'm not breathing, I'm still living. And I'll still try to do as much as I can. I just have to learn not to make my experience worse by it, right? Always a key, always a conundrum. Well, I hope you guys are doing wonderful and finding something good. I mean, we're all living through it. We're all going through hard times. Around the world, there's the inflation. Some places are worse than others. You know, being in the US, we're a little bit lucky. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's difficult. But there's places in Europe. I mean, there's a war going on. You know, there's people that are having a really hard time around the world buying food. So try to support one another. I mean, I try to support others, and I have people supporting me. And thank you for watching this video. I mean, you know, it makes me feel good when I do videos, and if anything that I say may make someone not feel alone in it, or, you know, help you know, it helps me by being able to share my story. So thank you for watching it and listening. And if you like it, you can put a thumbs up, like, and if you want to subscribe, I would definitely appreciate you subscribing. And if you want to ask me anything or comment, please make a comment below. Oh, great. Well, much love to you guys. Remember, you know, don't look at the cracks. All you see is more cracks. Look for beauty and you'll find more beauty. So find the beauty in the day. It's there. All right. Thank you guys. Bye. I'm going to add some pictures at the end. Okay.